Hey guys, it's Alexander Williamson getting the tripod set up. Hope I don't lose you here. Alright, so how's it going, everybody? I'm gonna wait here while people populate, so if you're watching this later, you can just skip ahead a couple seconds or minutes. Do a couple minutes. How about I sing you a melody? So, what do we feel like tonight, folks? You load 16 tons, what do you get? Another day older and deeper in debt. St. Peter, don't you call me 'cause I can't go. I owe my soul to the company store. What's up, Tilapia Store? You came in on the right note. Store. So I was just waiting for a couple people to trickle in. Doing a little live stream tonight, just kind of updating folks on what's new, what's going on in my world, and what will be going on in your world if you're a part of my world, so that our worlds will be worldly and wise. First thing that's going on, I also, in a little bit, when more people are watching, a couple people are still trickling in, I'm going to go over the giveaway stuff and how I kind of want that to work, and also some exciting news about the giveaway stuff, because part of that is unfolding in a positive way. So I had said that I would be giving things away. Ooh, you know what? I want you to watch something, though, ADD style. There were two male lemon tetras a moment ago here fighting, and they were doing here. Oh, let's see if they'll do it again. But there they go. There they go. So this is what is known as jousting. And this is how the alpha male of the lemon tetra has managed to bash his mouth, and now he has a cut on his mouth. He actually ran into the heater last night doing this. Pretty cool to catch this on tape. So lemon tetras out in the wild, they gather in shoals of like thousands of them, and they hang out in the shallow water around things that they could breed on, so that they could lay eggs onto. So any fine textured plants or anything like that. And by the way, I got these lemon tetras, and they are special lemon tetras. They are tangerine lemon tetras. Other people have said, hey, those don't look like lemon tetras. I think you're wrong. Well, they have half red irises, and that's how you can tell that they are lemon tetras. So if we zoom in, definitely the males that are fighting right now, they got that bloodthirst. Actually, they don't hurt each other. They hurt themselves more often than each other in running into things. And actually, I think his swim bladder may be a little bit off after smacking his head the other night, because he has been a little bit off kilter. But I wanted you guys to see how nicely if you get lemon tetras and ember tetras, they color up real nice together. So as always, this chat is going to be a question and answer, so you can interject at any time. It'll be nice and sporadic. So here we have a third male, first male, and then secondary challenger male. And the way you can tell in lemon tetras which one the male is actually that bottom fin there. You see that dark part? It will have a thick band if they are a dominant male. So these tetras that are jousting, they're doing it over a landmark. So this is important to know for breeding, because they are now doing that over that crypt plant or maybe on this ledge. And every time they joust, the females down here are watching. And so whoever comes out victorious will then have mating rights, and the females will come over in about a half hour after the males are done jousting, and they'll remember which male stood his ground and flared his colors the most and flashed the most. And that will end up being where the two of them then spiral, and we'll see. Whoa, let's see here if we can get their jousting. You can see that male who hurt his mouth. He's got really dark black fin on the bottom, so he has the thickest, meaning he is the most alpha. So, yeah, then after they've jousted and they're done doing that, The female will come in one at a time. Sometimes it'll be multiple females that will come in different sessions. But then they will kind of swim side by side, kind of swirling, doing this helical swirl thing. And then they'll drop a cloud of eggs and special presents, as I've said in the past, the male will leave a cloud of. And that settles then down below on anything that they've kind of picked as a landmark. So when you have a tank of lemon tetras, you want to have different landmarks. Also, Gudgeon, who's pretending to be another fish with his tail like that all day long. You probably saw a video earlier today. He was still doing that. So, kind of cool. Cool dynamics going on in the tank. So I've traded up in the world, so to speak. I've got some new things going on in this big community tank. I still haven't aquascaped it worth a darn, but there we go. Now we're zoomed out. I still haven't aquascaped it worth a darn, but it's gonna be a jungle tank more because I've decided I'm gonna try to raise a number of critters in here. And basically, I have successfully now raised rainbow fish and a couple Cory habrosis. And I'm hoping that with all this new water sprite... Hey, how's it going? Welcome. I'm just going to be going over some stuff that's new here, and then also be going over some of the stuff having to do with how I'm going to be doing the giveaway that I was talking about in one of my other videos for subscribers and for also for Patreon supporters. Definitely I want to do something extra special or give them an extra special chance at something, and so I'm going to talk about that. But we got distracted here by these lemon tetras jousting as the males do, and they're not biting each other if you notice, but they're establishing dominance. And since this is a new tank, they'll do this for a little while until one wins out, and I know it's already going to be this guy who's got the burnt lips from smashing into the heater and the rock wall. So I got rid of one of the gudgeons that I had. Where did you get the rocks for your tank? These rocks, these are all from Washington State. They're from all over the place. So around here, a lot of times when they do road construction, they'll leave a big gradient of these rocks, and then they'll either pave over it or cover it up and then pave over that. And they'll shore up hillsides by just dumping a bunch of it loose on there, and a lot of times stuff falls down and into the road or onto the asphalt. And so like on a steep cut in Seattle, or if there's a mudslide, a lot of times rocks will come down, and so that's where I grab these rocks. That's why they don't match this set of rocks, but they're big rocks. I mean, they're each like 30 to 50 pounds. Like this one up here is definitely a 50-pounder and was absolutely zero funds to get inside the house and then to put in the tank and hope it's not gonna like bust out the side or something. But let me talk to you a little bit. So we had a plant and fish paraphernalia accessories auction going on at our fish club a couple nights ago, and so I got a bunch of new fish. Well, not a bunch of new fish, but I got some new fish. I got quite a bit of new plant material, and then I also got rid of some of my fish and some of my shrimp, but all in the interest of upgrading, improving, and basically, if you don't know, if you haven't heard before, I started with the tank over there. I spent a good $300 or $400 in everything I needed for the tank, including livestock. And then through the kindness of people like in the hobby, whether it was just here's a cutting from this or that, and then trade me when you get something that I don't have, and now I'm trading them. Or whether it was meeting someone on Craigslist to get cherry shrimp for $1 a piece, trading old equipment from just random projects I've done and swapping it for things. And then also doing art for people, because my wife's opinion was that, hey, right now you are an artist and a graphic designer and you're in between gigs and you decided to start a fish channel. This is thoroughly ridiculous, and you have fun with that, but please don't spend money on this at this time. And I totally see her point. So I am trying to make this channel become whatever people involved with the channel want it to become. And then I am basically investing anything that I make profit wise off of these setups, and I'm putting that right back into the setup to make a better setup. So now we've got, this is the newest one. This is the most YouTube-y aquarium, if you will, in that I have kind of built it on YouTube and talked a lot about aquascaping and plants and cultured and grafted plants. Also in this tank right now, we happen to be, just because I see it, I had a very nice viewer named Don Pringle, who happens to be in my aquatic, the Greater Seattle Area Aquarium Club. He happened to, evening pipe thirsty, he happened to have a bunch of red root floater that he didn't know what to do with each month, and under intense lights. And so he sent some to me in the mail. And so now I've got some red root floater. Hey, Cecilia, how's it going? Thank you for joining. I'm just kind of going through. I've said it a couple times, but since people are filtering in, we've got some new things going on. I got rid of some things. And heyo, and also I'll be going over the giveaway info, and some of the things I'm going to show you here pertain directly to that. So that's why I'm kind of hanging out, showing you different tanks and stuff like that again. So at the local fish auction at my fish club, the Greater Seattle Aquarium Society, basically, in this week, I've managed to get red root floaters as just a very kind gift, and I am very grateful from a man named Don Pringle, who hooked me up with those in the mail. He just sent them in an envelope, and they were all wrapped up nice. I said that I was worried about this tank. Let me zoom out. It never does it smoothly, so bear with me. Whoop! Okay, so I told him that I was worried about ammonia and then nitrates building up in this tank. How long do the roots of those reds get? Thanks, man, for the compliment on the tank. Yeah, the roots on these things, this is about how long they'll get. That one's pretty crazy. I wish, let's see, can you see this clear? About like that, which is pretty insane. And then they start to kind of flip over. Red root floater does not grow super fast if you have a filter that moves water, but if you just have like a sponge filter or something like that, it'll grow pretty quick, especially if you're using fertilizer and highlight. Too much highlight and you can burn it out actually, and kill it, like yellow it out. But the nice thing about it is its roots, obviously it's feeding from its roots. So it's pulling problem materials out of the water with its roots, which aren't under the surface, which makes it nice, for keeping down the nasty chemicals. But what I wanted to show you in this tank, so I want to get another Pleco in this tank, or maybe move this Pleco to another tank. Her name is Callie. The other thing is, Mrs. Rainbow Finned Leopard Endler, who you can see the male version of there. And I wish I could like color correct and stuff on this live stream, but I just can't because YouTube is awesome. Thanks, YouTube. But here's another male and female. She is still very pregnant. The other one, however, they seem to have both gotten pregnant like the exact same time. And now we'll try to find one to see if we can get them to show up. as of tonight, we have babies of these leopard endlers with the rainbow tail. And in this case, the rainbow tail trait is a spade tail with a blue streak is what I've selected for. And these were raised for the last decade by Lucas Bretz from LRB Aquatics. And so I wish I could get its tail to show, but it's being kind of a jerk. It's got to be tired from bugging this poor. Okay, here's a baby. So here's a baby just born within a few hours. This is part of why I'm doing the live stream. It looks like we've got another one back up in here. I don't think you guys will be able to see that. Maybe you can bring it around over here. Maybe you can see them back in there. But there's a decent number of these little babies hanging around. And I won't venture to count them until the morning probably. And I'm tempted to turn the lights off. Yes, the parents will eat the babies, and I have witnessed this mother eat one of the babies as well as the male bug one of the babies, and I don't know what they're doing right now exactly. I've had guppies many times, I've had endlers several times, but I think she's trying to get down low and she's just eating some things off the ground like Daphne and things. There's quite a bit in this tank, but she is giving a really hard time is being given to her by that male endler, and he is pecking at his own babies when they come out. So I don't think he's being helpful. I think he's being a pain in the ass. So quite literally. But yeah, so the babies are out. They seem to know when they're getting like chomped down really quickly. They'll seem to hide. So the reason this tank has some more plants in it right now too is this stuff, red root floater or water lettuce or even like duckweed, but basically it's better if they have roots. Anything like that really helps them hide, helps the fry hide. But you can see there's another fry up in there. I mean, there were a bunch over here. Like, I don't know how many they're gonna have. This is the first successful batch of fry from these two endlers, the two female endlers and the two males. I wish I had a better ratio, but it turned out that I had 5 females and they were not all the correct endler. I got them at a local fish shop, and it turned out that only 2 are probably correct, and I'm really hoping they're correct because I paid extra money for all of them. And I talked to Lucas, whose strain they belong to, and there you can see their color and tail a little bit better. Sorry, I can't like manually focus on this live stream, but you can tell there's all sorts of pheromones and things in the water. And a lot of times the babies will go up, but these babies are choosing to go down because I put a bunch of water Sprite, which I got at my local fish auction in here. So there's another baby right in here if you can see him. So far it looks like we have at least half a dozen, if not maybe a dozen babies being born from one of the females. She still looks fairly sizably pregnant. Her gravid spot, the dark spot near the anal fin or kind of near her bulbous, the end of the bulbous part of her body, is still pretty dark. And a lot of times that darkness, you can actually see eyes of the baby fry. Also, my bronze and black shrimp is still hanging out in here. It is a female, and so I've let her hang out with the blue ones, and I've just been monitoring her to see if she's pregnant. If she gets pregnant, I will then move her to the nursery shrimp tank and monitor her there, and I'll probably put her up in this little tank or one of these little tanks after a couple weeks of pregnancy so that those babies can be put somewhere, and then I'll probably put them somewhere else. Heyo, welcome. So we're looking at ruby tetras right now, but the good thing about the fact that these fish are giving birth is that I wanted to do a giveaway to subscribers and to basically as a thank you to the Patreon folks, you guys who are donating even like $1 a month. That's means a ton to me. You know, that's $12, and that's awesome. Like, if you could pick your entertainment and your causes, like, you know, your cable. Like, I'd much rather pay for all the things I watch on YouTube, and I'd still pay less than cable. But that's why I got rid of cable. So I digress. Let me stop talking about that. These babies that are coming out tonight. Oh boy, do we have a bot here? I think we have a bot here, or a troll, but I'm just gonna keep on cruising and pretend like the fish are the only thing sexual in the chat or in the video. But this female is gonna be really tired, and I'm considering even grabbing the males out of here and putting them in a breeder box. Yeah, Cecilia, if you want to be a mod in the future, yeah, I will. Okay, how do I do this? Let me see here. Okay, you'll stop. All right. Thank you, 60-year-old overweight man. So in this tank, back to what I was saying, I love this Pleco. She's cute. Her name is Callie. But my buddy at Tampa Aquaculture is able to get a hold of imported Plecos, and he's able to get a hold of like 50 of them. And so I am kind of talking to him in the works about they're closing down being able to get a lot of the Plecos that people have really enjoyed for some time now, like the zebra Pleco and the what is the other one, that the leopard frog Pleco. Those are the two that are like really big sellers and really expensive. And yeah, so because they built a dam, flooded the area, and then now have over harvested, and they're going to be harder to find because the water's going to be deeper. They're probably not going to be coming out of the wild so much, and they're really hard to breed in captivity. So unlike this Ancestris, which is just like a run-of-the-mill, easy to find, easy to breed Pleco, I'm going to try to get a hold of a couple leopard, or some people call them zebra, the L46 and the L134s, leopard frogs and zebra Plecos. We'll see. But if I do, I would really like them to breed. And the other thing is, if I do, he already sells... yeah, I do have a few Bucephalandras. They're tucked in this mess over here. And I can't really zoom in because it just gets all jittery. But they're down in here, and they're tucked in the cracks a little bit around rocks, along with the crypts and the, what is it, Pinintifada? Hygro... I can't think right now. I'm sorry. I'm spacing on the name. But the ones that look like little ferns right here. What's up, Callie? Nope. But yeah, so the baby, a lot of people expressed that they were interested in these leopard Endlers. Yeah, I am, after this live cast, I'm gonna get the males out of this tank, because these females, they're giving birth, and they've got to be exhausted from these males picking on them. But basically, I want to give away some fish. Shipping is going to be the issue. So I think, first of all, I'm just going to give... Substrate here is a big old mix. So we've got fluorite that's crushed. We've got silicate sand, or quartz sand, sorry. We've got a mix of loose quartz gravel. And then we've got a little bit of fluval stratum in there too. You're from India. Yeah. Well, in India, if that is a native plant, you would have quite a bit of money if you just shipped it over here. I mean, I don't know what shipping is, but collecting it, it's worth some money. And I'll show you something in a little bit that I lucked out on, because so the... Okay, let me collect my thoughts. So the Hygrofolia pinnatifida, I don't know how to say it exactly. whatever. I'm just going to call it HP, okay? The Hewlett-Packard. The HP, I got a cup of it from ADF Plants that was about, I don't know, 6 times this size, and that was $12. I got it on sale, so better deal than that, but whatever. I got it from a plant cultured place, and it was that much money. If you buy it at the store, it's anywhere between $10 and $40, depending on the size of the plant. So, yeah, if you have it all over India, it's funny how that works. Wow, this Pleco is going nuts. So, also, I've got a lot of people expressing interest in these red ram's horn snails that are some sort of albino morph, and they also have kind of a crazy shell pattern that like overlaps kind of funky. Almost like a telescope, like the way those things extend and they unfold from themselves, or like a baton that you, or a car antenna that you extend. Any of those things, I don't know. My words aren't making sense tonight. I'm sorry. But those are making a good amount of babies finally. There's 6 adults in here, and they've got an awesome either pink, blood red, or like peach colored flesh, and then anywhere between white and gold shell that's translucent. And so those will be easy to ship. Plants will be easy to ship for selected winners. And I think that is what I'm going to do for like everybody will get an equal chance at that stuff. And then as far as these fish, Lucas sells them in pairs. These rainbow tailed leopard endlers. He sells them in pairs for, I want to say like $40 or $30 maybe. So $15 a fish. They used to be a lot more. But now they've kind of gotten out, and the breed is a little more common because everybody knows that Lucas has some pretty dope fish. So I hope Lucas hears this sometimes. Lupus, that's what I have actually. That's why my words and joints aren't working so well tonight. So I apologize for the shakiness. Increase your GH. Yeah, he has really hard water in his area, and so I do have some crushed coral in here too, now that you mention it. And then my water comes out at about 6.8 or 7, but my TDS comes out at 25. So between that and then this stone here, which I selected from, they use it down by the railroad tracks at my house, and there's an abandoned stretch of railroad tracks, and it's locally sourced basalt quarried out of a spot up in the mountains about 50 miles from here. That I just happen to know this from history classes and research, but you can actually see the chisel marks there of the power chisel that they use, a jackhammer type thing, a hydraulic hammer, and it has iron in it, and it also has a little bit of calcium in it, so it puts that into the water. You have to be careful with rocks like that because you can really overdo it really quick, and you can make your fish and your shrimp especially sick, or dead. So but I've done that, and then I also have a little piece of limestone which releases also some hardness and some calcium, some GH into the water and some KH into the water. So that's all good. So now we've gone over the fact that I have these wonderful female guppies, or endlers I should say. They always look like guppies, so I call them guppies, but they are endlers. We have them, and they're giving birth, and I'm very excited because I've waited a long time. I got these, I'm just going to call it like it is. I got these at Aquarium Co-op, and I bought a total of like 6 of them. But it turned out I got them really young, and it's all they had. That's probably on me that I was like, I'll take them. And they were sold more for a pair, and these were Lucas's originally, his critters. And they were like a special a while back. But it turned out as they got older, one happened to be a male, And then the other two of the other females had slight color on their fins, like blue. And so I moved them, got them out of the tank, but it'd been like a month since I bought the fish. And so hopefully, these two are correct because everybody in the tank looked correct except for the young ones. And I don't know if they got sucked through a filter or something or whatever. But if they're not correct, then I'm definitely going to have to chat with the shop slash I'll just buy some from Lucas. But what I wanted to wait for on the giveaway is so many people wanted these, and they're a really hardy fish, the Endlers, that I want to be able to give away some of these babies, especially because I'm working on the strain. I was telling him that I'm going to work on making the blue in the tail, like an ice blue, and then the spade tail. He is not like selecting for the specific tail necessarily. He has a bunch of different tanks with different traits, but I want to specifically for myself kind of hone the strain and have that, and then where the black is up front, I'm selecting for less and less of that and getting back to kind of this iridescent color. It looks really washed out right now, but in any case, so we'll get back to that later. When I get off of live stream, I'm going to separate these males who are like going nuts with all the pheromones in the water. Let's take you down to the shrimp tank. Right now, the shrimp tank is kind of in disarray because, well, if you remember, my peacock gudgeons jumped from up here, two of them at the same time in the same night, jumped over the edge down into the great floor yonder, and started to kill 70% of my shrimp. The other thing is I've had 3 adult shrimp die in the last 3 days. I also came in and found that the heater wasn't working, so I threw another one in, and now I see that the second one came on again. They're both set low, and the water temperature is at 75 degrees, so that should be okay, but we have a cold night coming up ahead, so hopefully that takes care of that. Right now, we just have, other than one female tangerine, because I don't have any other tangerines that are male and ready to mate, we've got one female tangerine hanging out in the tank somewhere, and then the rest are all I moved, so there's none in the big tank anymore, but all my painted fires are in. Yeah, where did I get the tan? Oh yeah, so all these shrimp are from, well, not all of them, but most of them are from Tampa aquaculture.com, and he's a local to Florida, and he is an independent, small-time fish farmer slash shrimp and crawfish slash crayfish, whatever you want to call him, farmer. He has the blue Australian red claws, but they're blue. His farm was the one that first did that in the late 60s. That's kind of what his like what it's known for, but he has rainbow fish, and then he has some cool snails, and he's got an assortment of shrimp, and I just talked to him tonight. He's got more shrimp in quarantine, so the sold out button, if you go to tampaaquaculture.com, should be changing pretty soon, because I'm probably going to get another load of shrimp from him too. Him and I are working together in that I want to support him and chat with him. And then I'm working on this strain, and he can help me as someone with a wholesale license get a hold of things. But the thing is, we have to then sell, he has to be able to sell them, because it's actually really hard to make a living doing that as a independent farmer down there. They don't get that much money from the distributors, and you're raising 100,000 tetras, say, in a pond, or tilapia or whatever, and you're getting paid sometimes like pennies on the pound. So like 10 pounds of tilapia, you get like $4, like, or whatever, and they just weigh it out that way. there's all sorts of different systems for different fish. Obviously, more specialized fish, it's a different system. But he's going to be on the show soon. We're going to do an interview about what it's like right now. There used to be almost 1,000, if not more than that, probably, off of the grid, so to speak, farms for tropical fish and crustaceans. And now there are less than 200, if not, I think license wise it's like 180 right now. But you can see here that these shrimp have red all over. They are so opaquely red, and this camera is just not doing them justice. That one looks a little more like red the way it appears to me. And some of them are a darker ruby, but the ruby ones are a little bit clearer, whereas these ones are painted fire, and you can't see through them at all. You can't even tell when they're pregnant, other than when they like swim upside down. And they're real bulky, like tank type shrimp. These I've selectively bred from his stock, as well as I had some other cherry shrimp that I got from a friend that I had like 7 of, but most of the shrimp that I have are lineage from them, except for, so we have these blue shrimp here, and this isn't a system that I've gone over it. I don't want to hear the criticism, because I am not doing this as a line breeder. I'm not saying that these are going to be true. I'm doing this because I like shrimp, and I think it's fun to mix and match and see what happens. But I allow the pregnant females to hang out in here. They've already been fertilized, whatever color they are, and they hang out until they give birth. Literally the day after they give birth, I pull them out. If they have a new saddle forming while they're pregnant, I will pull them out as soon as that saddle is mature. And that makes it so that they cannot get impregnated, or fertilized, I should say. They may have eggs, but they're not going to have, say, a red male come in and fertilize them. That being said, there are 4... is that algae on the rock? Yeah, so there's algae, but then there's also... These shrimp are about 2 weeks old, and they're growing very slowly. But these are another LRB Aquatics or Lucas Brett's. These are his Dream Strain Blues, and I only had 2 females left of them, and after the gudgeon attack, and I thought that everyone was dead. Come to find out that these guys, when they were really, really young, like they must have been born a day or 2 before the attack, they were hiding in this substrate and then under the rock piles over in this corner, under the plants over here, or up in here. So now it looks like we've got, I don't know, I can zoom in a little bit too. And this rock, yeah, I've let it grow algae. It's like a field that they graze in almost. But yeah, you can see some of them are going to be a really dark blue. Others, I like the electric blue personally, but I know other people like that navy blue. So I will let them graze until they're yay big, around 1/4 of an inch to 1/2 an inch with their tail when they're fully extended. Then they'll come back up to the blue tank, which is just the blue shrimp in here, other than the weird black shrimp female, who I'm not worried about. If she gets pregnant, like I said, I move her to the nursery tank. Her babies go into a spawn box with her, and nobody gets mixed up. Everybody's happy. Yay. But what I did the other night is I sold all of my really shrimp, except for these ones here, which will also be sold, except for a few left to breed. And they're in a breeder box, but I sold my realies. These ones are pretty young still, maybe a month old or something like that, and the light is too intense, so it's washing them out. But there's like 15 in here, or 20, and there you go, you can see one on the far left. So those I traded and auctioned off 10 of those. It was bad because you get half of whatever you auction things for at our fish club, which is fine, that it goes to a good cause. But then you end up, it could go for anything. It could go for, $5, and I had 2 packages of 10, and I think I ended up with $12 from one, and so $6 in my pocket, and then the other one was like, I think I got $15 in my pocket, so it went for 30. So somebody got a crazy good deal on some red shrimp or Riley shrimp. They got 10 of them for $12. So the local fish club is where it's at for the auctions, but not the best way to make money always. Sometimes you'll get into a bidding war, and my shrimp, are a great way to make money. But I like people to have shrimp. I like them to know that where they came from, and then if they have something else in the future, a lot of times they'll return the favor of putting something up for auction or trading me or whatever. It's kind of just a flag like, hey, I've got shrimp. So we've got those. We've got another batch of reds that are just slightly older. Some of them appear, now they are not reallys, but they appear to be really some of them. So they're probably a cherry that reverted. And then we've also got tangerines, and that's what that white one is, and a hydra. And a snail. So you can see all the little nasties in my tank, and snail eggs. So all my dark secrets are out there. There's no, I'm an expert fish keeper and nothing ever goes wrong. Yeah, no, tonight I'll be getting tweezers and yanking out those hydra. They don't grab and trap and kill the shrimp per se, but they beat down their immune system, and they can grab really teeny shrimp, like the one behind that snail that looks like a piece of dust. So that's enough of that tank, but we've got blue shrimp coming up, and the giveaway of those shrimp, I think I'm going to give those away when those blues grow up, and then I'll give away some of the choice ones. Honestly, I will keep the very best and breed them again so that we have something else to give away again in another few months. These guys, here's one of the blue parents, the blue father. So the blue father has a nice blue, he's hiding under stuff, but when he's in the light, he's got a really nice blue, just kind of cerulean blue look to him, which is nice, and the light comes through him. He's not totally opaque or anything, but there's actually 5 or 6 random blue shrimp in here, but I want more of Lucas, more of his specific line, because it almost never throws off. It's the most pure line that I think anybody knows about right now as far as blues, maybe in the world, for sure in the US. He's had it for 10 years, something like that. So, all right, so now we got the Endler babies, the shrimps, the ram's horn snails. They're all producing. We've got all the stuff that was pulled out of the little ADF culture pots, and we've got that down here so the little fish can hide in it. It's growing nicely. You can see that the Rotundra pink or Vietnam is growing. It's grown up double its height in a week. So doing great for not having CO2. I am going to hook the CO2 back up, but I just didn't want to stress out the fish or change too much all at once, because I'd been doing some digging and adding some plants when I saw that they were making babies. Oh, also the surprise babies that appeared near the attack in this tank, I believe they are rainbow fish. So I decided to sell my thread fin rainbow fish, because now I got some more on the way. They're growing up. And I ended up getting these lemon tetras, which I did a video on earlier today, and the glare was awful. I wish I'd done it with these new lights, which I'll tell you about in just a moment. But these lemon tetras I absolutely love. They've got a red eye. They came in, no joke, like this pale. And that's the way they look at the pet store a lot of times. But I put some catappa leaves, some almond leaves back in the corner over here, in the corner of the tanks. And then I just kind of put a whole bunch of water Sprite, which I also got at the auction. And then I got, oh, what else did I get? Crips. And then check out the Hygrophila pinnatifada. Sorry if I'm just butchering that, whatever. But this is a mat of it in here. And you can see how tall it is, but it's a mat that is probably 8 by 10 inches. And so I set that down right on the floor of the tank, and that will be a hiding spot for fry, because with all of these landmark features, you will see it if you watch the beginning of the video if you missed it, but the lemon tetras were jousting, the males, the alpha males were jousting. It looks like they may be done with that, but they were jousting, so they may have recently mated. Usually a half hour after jousting, the females will come by and they will mate. So there could be eggs in there now. Now, that being said, they eat their own young, like, voraciously. So if I see eggs and I can get to them, I will definitely grab them. The females lay about 300 eggs. But if I see them down in here, there aren't many snails in this tank. There's like, I mean, I usually see like 2 or 3 at a time at most. Like, there's one on that branch that's teeny. And I don't know who eats the snails or what. And then there's like a larger one right there. But something does. And also the gudgeons, the murderers, Mickey and Mallory from Natural Born Killers. There's Mickey. And he is in his little goby hole. And he is ready to guard those eggs with his life. So I will have baby gudgeons also, and I definitely don't want a bunch of gudgeons. Like, I do, but I'm worried that in this tank, which is so intensely stocked at the moment, that they will fight. Because I've got, this is just barely under 40 gallons. It was like a custom bow front kind of weird setup. And right now we've got a male who's separate from everyone because he can't play well with others. He was ripping fins off of the other cool new find that I got, which are, you want the gudgeons? All right, done. If I can raise them up and they don't get eaten, you can have them. Just pay me shipping and I'll send you the gudgeons. So that's the other thing I was going to say about the giveaways. I'm going to use Patreon money and some of my own money, depending on what I've got, when these fish are adults, and then juveniles enough that we can sex them. And all the things I'm giving away, I'm going to find some program that randomly generates a name or draws it. And then I'll give points. So people who are on my Patreon list will get a point for every $1 they are on Patreon. And then for every month they've been with me, they'll get another point. And I think I'll do this drawing. It'll probably end up being in like late March. And then I might do a plant drawing before then, or giveaway just to any subscriber. Just to get the ball rolling, because I promised I was going to give something away, but I want you guys to get something that's good and, share in the channel. So I've added all these plants in here in hopes that any babies will do well. Also going on in here, we can move the light, but we've got these beautiful ribbon guppies. They're black Moscow Japanese ribbon hybrids, and the male probably can't mate with the female due to the size of the gonopodium, which I know is kind of crazy. But there's artificial insemination that goes on in Japan, I guess, and then there's also trimming of that gonopodium and just putting them in tight quarters, and I guess it works out at some point. But I don't want to deal with too much of that. So I've put a blue male that I think is very pretty with a large fanciful tail. And then these ribbon females are in here. The male is actually the lesser of the group. I wish this... Why won't it focus? Okay, there you go. You can see the male now. But they're a true black. They've got all sorts of streamers and stuff coming off of them, and they're so Dumbo-eared that it looks like they have wings. So they're just a really cool fish. I wish the live stream would let me focus better because you're really missing out the color and their streamers and all that stuff that's really subtle. But yeah, so that's what's the scoop in here. And now there's no other guppies in there but them. And that weird, this was one of the ones that I bought, if we can find him again. There's a guppy in here that was here. It's an Endler is what it turned out to be, so that's kind of right. But it has an orange laser streak. Come on, camera, focus. There. An orange laser streak, and that is what I was sold as a rainbow-tailed leopard Endler female. And this is the other one, which is a panda guppy female. So if it's possible, we could have a laser Endler mating with those ginormous female black Russian or black Moscow Japanese ribbons is what they're called, which is confusing, I know. But yeah, so that could happen. I'm also growing some plants and some rock wool down there. All my Corydoras habrosus are hanging out on this incline of a ledge. The temperature, it dipped down because of how cold it was the other night, and then they've all been hanging out on this ledge. So they may be doing a spawning thing. I don't know. They've been doing the up and down, and then they've been kind of nestling to each other in a T shape with the male headbutting the female in the belly area, abdomen. Which is often a sign of that, and the cold water infusion will do that. And they also like to warm up on the rocks afterwards or in the shallows. So, last part of the story of what's been going on too is I got these lights. So, if you remember, I actually had a setup that was super ready to burn my house down. Oh, sorry about the mess. But, so this was my last setup on this tank, and it's just these LEDs that you buy online, and that you can glue, or they have an adhesive on them. But I hot glued them into a rail line for like a screen door or a sliding track. Then I soldered the connection point for the power, and then I just made a plug on either end that you can chain together in a relay. So this was like a makeshift $15 solution, or I guess it was $20 to make double this amount with the materials, and it produced about as much light as that tank down there, but the power it consumed was not effective. It wasn't wide spectrum. And I traded my rainbows. So I got all these 8 lemon tetras, which didn't look colorful, so nobody bidded on them. But I got them for $6, which is incredible. And I feel like I owe the person who raised them some money or trade them some fish as a thank you. They're so orange, this strain, that people are like, those aren't lemon tetras. They are. Look at the red on their eye, and just all the characteristics about them compared to like amber tetra. But I'm really liking the fish that are in this tank. It's kind of an odd mix. There's a couple rainbow fish. There's Endlers, tetras, Corydora, Julii, habrosus, 2 gudgeons, and then a couple guppies up top and some forktails. So weird mix, but it's working. And the rummy nose, and then a couple blue neons. I wish there were more blue neons, but they got replaced. That's where the rainbow fish came from. Looks like they screenshot in the what wattage are those LEDs? I got one on Amazon. Hold on one sec here. Let me read the chat. Sorry, guys. Bob Saget, what's up? I don't think you're really Bob Saget. The ones that I made, I've seen these online on eBay and stuff, but I made these based on that, and they are a 12 They're either 9 or 12. I don't remember. Let me see here. Whatever this box ended up being, which I bought online cheap from China for $3. 9. Looks like they're putting out 9 watts each, so 18 watts total. So not like terrible, but then I got these, which are 30 watts each. Traded 4 thread fins that I got, and I actually got them for free from Tampa Aquaculture, TampaAquaculture.com. They've got thread fins there, and they start at $8, which is like a fair price, maybe a little bit less than some local fish shops would sell them for, maybe the same, maybe a buck more. I don't know. It's in the region. But as soon as you buy a couple, they go down like I think as much as 40% if you buy more. So I like the guy. I like that it's like his farm. He's raising stuff. Gary Lang sourced these fish, and he's like the rainbow fish god. So that's always a good sign too, that that's their heritage. But these lights, I need to get like a metal cord, and then I'm going to hang it from the ceiling up here in my wonderful 60s style house, and hang it above the tank like so. These get pretty warm, and I'm a little concerned about how warm they get. So I might try to figure out soldering some sort of heat sink, or maybe even just a fan, or I don't know if the water's cool enough, like reflecting off this glass. I hadn't had the top on this tank for a long time, but even through a dirty, moist, sorry guys, tank, these are shining all the way through the bottom, and my friend's par meter was like 28 or something at the bottom. Like, I'm worried they're going to burn things out. So we're going to put a dimmer switch on them. But they're a little yellowy, a little green, but they really illuminate the tank like a good 4 times more than the other ones. And one of these spots, like if I just show you here, like I can illuminate the room really easily with one of these spots. I don't want to like point it directly at you guys, but it's basically 6 ginormous LED bulbs, no fan or anything, and then it's like cast iron, die cast or whatever, and they're from China. He ordered them from China. He is from Bangladesh and has friends who know manufacturers in Taiwan and China, Vietnam, places of that such nature, and so he's always bringing stuff in quantity or ordering it a month out. And this was one of his finds. How long have you had them in that tank? I got these today. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. We're gonna see how it goes. I can always switch back. I obviously want the new Fluval 3.0 or a 2.0 even, but I don't have the money for that. And the Patreon money I am going to save so that I can ship you guys fish when I do the drawing. So now we've established that the once hope is now a reality, that the leopard endlers have reproduced, and there's another female that is going to reproduce more. Hopefully they do not eat their babies. Yeah, totally they're going to work better than the strip lights. The shrimp, they got pretty hammered, got drunk, wasted at a party last night. But before that, they got hammered by the gudgeons who jumped tank and just crunched them. Didn't even eat them, just crunched them. And now I'm going to say there's probably 100 baby shrimp assorted. There's probably about 30 to 40 blues of different styles in there from 2 batches of those females who were killed. And then I have a couple female adults, but I'd rather get my line because that was from Tampa Aquaculture, and those shrimp were only $3.50 each. You can get any fancy shrimp if you order 7, I think it is. I think that's the deal. Check. But if you order from them, just mention my channel, my name, so he knows, because he's basically said, oh, I'll send you specimens for your channel if you let people know where they came from. And so, I have. So that's the deal with him. And it's cool to hear an insight into like the guy who sells to the distributor who then your local fish store buys from if they're not buying like locally, which most can't. And he sells to even like pet PetSmart level stuff with his crawfish, which is what he's known for. But with the hurricane and then with their cold snap, they had a frost that lasted a long time this year down in Florida. They've had like 3 of them or something, all the way down in Tampa and in Miami even they had one. And that killed a ton of tropical fish. So they're having a really hard year. And he's become my friend, I really want to support his endeavor to cut out the middleman and kind of sell straight to the buyer and to sell to the distributor still. So, yeah, Tampa Aquaculture, check it out. That's where I got all my rainbows. That's where I got a lot of the shrimp. So, and then I selectively bred them because I'm not going to lie, they're not top notch grading wise. They're like maybe Sakura grade. He has cherry shrimp for $1, and I think they're even less if you buy more. But I took those and I bred painted fire in like 4 generations by really heavily culling and selecting. So the genes for really good shrimp are in there, but they've just gotten muddled in whatever setup. He must have had them in another tank just as a cleanup crew for other critters. And then he's just now getting some more, he said, of I think some yellows and some other stuff. What do I use to catch my shrimp in single amount? I've planted community tank and I was curious what the easiest way is. Okay, so what I do is I use this aquascaping tool that I got on Amazon in a pack of all the ones that are usually $20 a piece for $14. So I got that and the straight version of these, and scissors, bent scissors, little snippers, all that stuff on Amazon. And they've worked out fine. But I'll usually poke at them with that so that they kind of leave one spot if they're already flighty. And then I'll just use one of these nets, and it sucks, and I hate it. So what I did, if I can find it, because you guys are going to probably laugh at this one, is I made a rigid net. Okay, laugh on, guys. So I made this net, which is a skewer for shish kebabs, and then it is wire, like gardening wire or floral wire. Let's see if we can get this better lit. Yeah, floral wire, and then I just wove that together. And then what I did was I took a piece of plastic and a lighter and I formed it in the shape of the little basket, which is just a crisscross of wire and a braid of wire in a square. And then all that is super glued. So it's all aquascaping materials, actually, because I use these to push things down and not worry about leaving them in the tank, and to like if you've got something that you need to get down in there, or you're staking something and then you want to cut it. I've done that before too. So yeah, but this is what I use for the shrimp, because then it's rigid. You have to fill it with water first, obviously, because it doesn't let water go through. And so it's not going to go quick, but it does let you put it over them, and it definitely startles them if you just scoot them to the edge, and then they'll do their little jump backwards. And then they'll hide, and I pinched it off at an angle so that there's a little recess in each corner, and so they'll go into that. So that is right now my de facto little shrimp net, along with this one for the adults. But the babies, this one catches them nicely. Yeah, the 2-net technique, totally. So yeah, Bob, I totally use the 2-net technique. I also use this thing as my technique. But the problem is that I plant my tanks, the shrimp tank being the least planted. So like getting 15 shrimp out of this tank, which I happen to know were in there, was a nightmare. And that's one of the ways this tank is not aquascape, was because of that kerfuffle. So, all right, last thing I'm going to go over before I get off of here. Water lettuce is going insane. So that's a thing. I got a bunch more plants at the auction. So basically I came with shrimp, and I came with, and here's the Pelvicochromis tenuatus Nigerian red. There's the male. Female, yep, she's in her burrow. And so I'm hoping. They keep doing this. How you spell kerfuffle? That's probably how you spell it right there. I don't know. You spell it Fuc fuffle. But in any case, so this male has been keeping everyone a distance from her cave. And she'll come out to eat, which isn't normal if they have eggs usually. But I'm hoping that they are spawning for real this time. They did their dance. His color is like washing out again. He got really, really vivid color. And I turned the heat up. And so hopefully they have eggs in there. I don't know. She's been hanging out in there quite a bit. And I'm hoping that he's protecting her and she's protecting the eggs. If that's the case, this is the one that I'll probably give away one mating pair because I paid, I'll admit it, okay, I paid $79 for these, this variation of these guys. And I never, ever, ever thought I'd spend that much on fish, but I fell in love with their personality, and I watched them in the store and just saw how inquisitive and actually like smart they are. And I don't say that about fish because I think most are kind of dumber than a rock. Sorry guys if you love your fish. I still like my fish, but a lot of them aren't very intelligent. We've also got some pregnant blue Japanese Endlers in here. That's a female of another strain, so we're gonna get her. She's also pregnant by the Japanese blue Endler. So there should be a whole bunch of different Japanese Endler mixes. Also, guys, if you haven't yet, please like the live stream. Unless you don't like it, then don't like it. But yeah, you can see the male. He's so sweet and caring. He goes right back to her. He brings her food. So like if I have brine shrimp that are frozen or something, he'll bring it to her. He'll take other things in his mouth and like flakes and bring it to her. And when they first were put together, they literally wouldn't go anywhere without one another. And they both started as like a washed out color, kind of like this, where they're not super vivid. Just a little bit of lavender and some yellow and orange in the tail. Hey Kathy, I think you're catching the end of this one again, but welcome, and you can watch. But I was kind of just going over the giveaways, what's new in the tanks, and what I'm thinking on the giveaway stuff. So basically, plants. I've got a whole bunch of new plants. I'm not even going to go over them now because I'm going to do profiles on a bunch of them. New Pellia species. This, I don't know what this is. It is a mystery plant that came with another plant, and the person who owned it didn't know what it is. So if you guys know what it is, cool, leave a comment, please. I haven't really tried to figure it out that hard, though, so whatever. And then we've also got this one, which started this tall 2 days ago, no joke, and it's almost doubled in height. So that one won't be staying in this tank. It'll go over in the tall tank and probably get cut over and over again. That one is a brownie. What's it called? Something brownie, or brownie eye is the name. But yeah. So in any case, back to these ones who are my pride and joy, and the ones that I like protect the most and spend the most time caring for. I think she has a clutch in there. There could be anywhere from like 4 babies up to 50 the first time, with most usually having like 20 born and maybe 15 surviving or something like that. So I'd like to give a pair to one of my Patreon subscribers because I am so thankful that you guys have supported me, that we've got over 500 followers in less than 3 months now, as just a hobby channel. I'm not editing. I'm not throwing a ton of money into this. I mean, I am spending a lot of energy and time, and I want to. Good night, Cecilia. You take care. Thank you so much for watching. I'm going to need you to mod for me in the future, please. And I'll try to get you some baby gudgeons once they mature so they can terrorize your tank and not mine. No, they're supposed to be peaceful. Those ones are just a piece of work. But yeah, so these Pelvicochromis, they're a hard to find variety, and they're really, really sweet. They raise their kids, their baby fish fry, and they lead them around the tank for like a couple months until they're like the size of one of these smaller guppies, and they mate kind of for life once they're together like this in the tank, and they get colors in their bellies, and it could have been any one of like 3 or 4 colors, but they matched up. They both simultaneously turned that color, whereas in the same brood, the store owner who sold them to me, his had their bellies turn a different color, and they're all the same fish. They were all brothers and sisters. I know that's incestual. Hey, that's line breeding. But yeah, so hopefully someone will get a pair of those for free shipping and everything. And then those people who are higher level backers or who have been backing for longer on Patreon, they will get to pick through whether it's these black Moscow, Japanese ribbon fin, Dumbo ear guppies. I know that's an absurd name. That have just crazy long fins everywhere. Whether that's the lemon tetras who were jousting earlier at the start of the feed, whether that's the gudgeon who hasn't left his post with his baby for days, whether that's the mystery fry that are rainbow fish. These fish are gorgeous. I've heard that the blue is a rare color in nature. Yeah, definitely. Blue is not as common in most critters in nature. And actually, I know this sounds bizarre. Don't let me explain it because it's too long and I was an anthropologist and I'm going to waste all your time nerding out over it. But the color blue and the word blue were not a concept until like 1500 years ago. It was just like the sky, like it was just there. They had green and they had yellow, but blue was not a thing because it doesn't happen in nature that much. It's the sky or it's the water, but look it up online, Google it. How old is the idea of blue? I think Vsauce has a YouTube video on it. Very interesting. But yeah, it is rare. I think that's why I'm drawn to it. That's why I like my shrimp in here. I'm excited. Are you alive? You've been hanging out here since a long time. Hold on, let me poke that shrimp just because I'm worried. I had a shrimp in here die the other day and I moved a bunch of stuff around. Oh, and the little fries are hanging out with them too. Oh, no, the shrimp's all good. So these are the parents of the baby shrimp that I'm also going to hope to send out. So the way shipping will go, snails, plants, things like that, I can do drawings and we can ship them relatively easily in the States. To the people outside the United States, I still want to hook you up if you got drawn in this. And I'm going to team up with like Mark's Aquatic if you're in the EU or someone like that. Maybe someone in Australia for Singapore and Australia. And hold on one sec. I'm just reading comments. Oh yeah, it's wrong to poke shrimp. I'm sorry. I just had to know it was okay. It was for its own good, okay? Cecilia, geez, lay off. Or Kathy, who said that? Kathy, sorry. Cecilia's been giving me crap all night too. In a very, I just knocked things over. That's how I roll. I need to clean up a lot of stuff around here. And then I also want to do a background of like some nice sky neutral colors. Yeah, clean that algae. Thank you, Miss Pleco. Thank you. So I need to get these tiger / leopard endlers out of here, the rainbow endlers, so that they don't exhaust these poor pregnant females. But I've given you guys the tour. We've done the Q&A on it. I don't know if the red root floaters are staying in here, but they're in here for a while until the tank gets seasoned, as it were. The shrimp should grow up. I'm going to be doing profiles on the new fish. I just uploaded the profile for these new guppies, these ribbon-tail Japanese ones that are derived from black Moscows. Just uploaded a lemon tetra info video, and I want to do a couple more on old ancient fish, like fish that are older than dinosaurs that we can still raise in our tanks, and talk a little bit about history that way. And then I also want to talk about famous people who have kept fish that you may not have known that were aquatic enthusiasts and things like that. So I have some fun videos planned. I want to get a little better at production value and things like that. Still working on it. Time is another thing. I'm kind of in between just scraping by on gigs that I can get right now. And so when I have a steady income source and job, I can probably actually have somebody come over and help me with like working on some of that stuff, get a better lens and software, and go better places and get a mic so that I can actually do things well. But we're going to interview local farmer, local fish store owners, an aquascape master, also a professor, a man who is the first person to get several licorice gouramis to breed in captivity, which are going extinct because of palm oil plantations in Malaysia and Indonesia. So lots of cool stuff planned in the future for this channel. Please watch. Some of it's probably going to be Patreon content just because I want to reward them somehow a little extra, just because it means a lot that then that money I can use to invest in stuff to show you, or I can actually like have gas money or take my person out to lunch who I'm interviewing, or whatever it may be, ship you guys fish for free for giveaways and stuff too. So yeah. But thank you so much for watching. Red Root Floater, that is the name if you Google it. There's a Latin name. I don't know it off the top of my head. I do, but I'm embarrassed to try to pronounce it. So, all right, guys, I got to get off the YouTube vision, and you're going to try and breed clown loaches. Cool. I really want to try to breed these rocket killifish or striped clown killifish. They've laid eggs. They've got this beautiful blue eye, and they look like they've got a little rocket on their tail. Yet again, YouTube just does a terrible job of letting me focus on anything in color contrast. But yeah, they're really teeny. They're small. They're like fingernail size, and they're supposed to. That's why this water lettuce is in here. That and because the cribs they like shade. They're from Central Africa. So, all right, guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed a little bit. Hoping to get more shrimp. They eat shrimp, little sneaky devils. But I am going to thank you for saying my fish are gorgeous. I'm working on it, and I'm hoping to get them out to you guys. Had a couple pass away, and that's always a bummer. Gave some away, but I just wanted to show you what's left right now. I didn't give away the whole store kind of thing. But yeah, so working on my plant collection and my fish collection. I want to get a big tank. Ideally, someday I want to get like a 90-gallon rimless 6 foot by foot and a half 88 escape in a. Did the light come with a feeder? No, I'm ghetto. But thanks for the comedy, Bob Saget. Yeah, no, this is a plastic piece of junk that came in like some cheap thing I bought. And then this is it's an automatic feeder that sucks. I don't like that feeder, honestly. It'd be fine for bigger fish, but for these little fish, it's really hard to get the amount right. And it'll only feed every 12 hours or every 12 hours or every 24 hours. And so then you still manually feeding. I mean, unless you're on a trip or something, which I guess in theory people do. But for me, it's more for the babies because in the wild, they roam, they eat. But I have a new system, which is to try to catch as many babies as I can when they're really young. And for the first 4 weeks, I throw them in the shrimp tank. And they're too small to eat even the baby shrimp, but they eat the Daphnia, they eat the Hydra and the seed shrimps. They can't eat the scuds, but they eat the stuff in the shrimp tank, and that kind of keeps it down. Then I scoop them out a week or two later. Sometimes you miss one, and then you might miss a couple shrimp here and there, but you know, I'm not into perfect breeding of lines and things. I just want to try to do a good job and try to make it obvious when I do catch it. See, the male just went in there. He checked on his his darling mate, and now he's giving me a look like, don't get too close to the glass. And he will like chase everyone else if they get too close, and snails. He'll pick them up and he'll like move them across over to here and drop them. All right, guys, I'm gonna stop talking, but drop me a question if you have any questions. Here's my messy living room. Those are my tanks, my new lights. I think I'm gonna hang them. I don't know. We'll see what happens. They're pretty bright. I need some like hoods. I'll probably DIY that. I need an inline filter and a stop valve, or a check valve, I should say, for the little CO2 tank. I think I'm going to do a paintball CO2 tank, ideally in the future. This has got a lot of low, slow growing stuff, and red is the theme, even though you can barely see it. There's a lot of red to be had in here if we had CO2 and ferts. It would make these yellow guys pop. The red guys do like a nice highlight or complementary thing, and then the blue shrimp would just be electric if I could get like 50 shrimp in there instead of like 4. And then I also would love to get a leopard frog Pleco in there, or 2 for a little while, and then end up putting them in here, if not getting another like 75 or 90 gallon tank. Make sure you have a dual regulator to prevent the end of tank dump. Yeah, I have a Fluval 45 gram, and you can look at my review of it to see what happens. The thing just drains. It's so touchy that it will blow up the line. The check valve's like a cheap piece of crap plastic thing right here, and it'll either blow this ceramic piece off, it'll blow this hose off. If the hose is on well, it will swell if there's any moisture, which there will be because of the pressure change, which causes the temperature change from the liquid CO2, which sucks this stuff back up through the check valve somehow, and then it expands and either pops off and makes a big thud, or it'll actually blow apart and spray water everywhere and hit me. So yeah, not fun. But I gotta get off. My phone's gonna die. I gotta get off because my fish are gonna exhaust those poor female fish. And I will talk to you guys later. Thanks for sticking with me. Thanks for just letting me ramble on and just share with you my love, my passion, and my new lemon tetras and all the new critters that are in here, all the new organisms, the wall of water sprite and different plants that are going to be hopefully a nursery, and some of them won't make it, but most should, hopefully. So, all right, guys, you take care of yourself, take care of your fish, take care of each other, and swim on. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.